Uh, Hi, I'm Rodolfo Alvarez, and I am a type 1 diabetic. I'm sure everybody knows that though. But basically, what happened was imagine me, 3 years old, really small, and I just start puking everywhere. And it was very messy, and I was a very sick kid. So my mom thought, hey, take him to the hospital. He might have a flu or something. And then, like, the doctor was like, what the hell's wrong with this kid? He ain't getting better. And actually, I mean, it took a while for them to find out what happened. It was after I went into a coma. They were thinking, "Look, he might be a diabetic because yeah, because my blood sugar was extremely high. I believe it was in the thousands when I was at the hospital. Anyways, they figured out, oh, he's a type 1 diabetic. He's very sick right now. If you didn't take him to the hospital today, he would have died. That kind of thing. And my parents were like, oh no, that sucks so much for him. But I was 3 years old. I was like, I didn't care. Like, personally, I thought I was gonna get more gifts out of it because I was in the hospital. I was a greedy little brat that just wanted gifts. So that's what happened. Um, but yeah, so I became a diabetic when I was 3. Didn't care too much about it, and that's mostly what happened. Like, what really happened is my immune system thought, hey, what's this pancreas doing in this guy's body? Let's attack it. And it screwed up my pancreas pretty badly, which is the technical reason why I'm a diabetic. So there are a few misconceptions about diabetics. One thing is everyone thinks, oh, they're kind of fragile. We have to be worried for them. They can't really do everything on their own. And there's some truth to that. Obviously, diabetics do have to be cautious in their everyday living. But we can still pretty much do whatever we want. And more importantly, we can eat whatever we want. See, people think, oh, if you have an apple, you're gonna die, or something like that, but that is definitely not true.
I've been a diabetic for 15 years now, since I was 3.
And a lot has changed since back then to now. Yeah, hold a second. See, back then as a kid, I used to get like 10 shots a day. I always had to stab myself with needles just to eat food. And even then, that didn't always work out. I always still ended up going to the hospital because I was too sick to do anything. I was always like confined to a bed like this, and just either watching TV or playing games. But I spent a lot of time in the hospital. I spent a good amount of my childhood there. And I used to miss a lot of school. I missed like 40 days of school every year. And that was my childhood, basically. It was me being alone, being sick. And that was it. But as I grew older, I started getting better. I started taking care of myself more, better. And new stuff, like new technology. Like this insulin pump helped me out so much. And like nowadays, I sometimes forget I'm a diabetic. I hardly notice that. I always it's really easy to take care of nowadays, and it hardly affects my life now. I'm able to go out more. I hang out with my friends all the time. I only miss like 10 days of school every year now. Probably a little more than that, but nowadays I would say that diabetes isn't a big deal. So, guys, this is my mother, my madre, mi familia. But so how has my diabetes affected our family? Do you still love me?
Oh, stop. Well, let's see. You've had it.
Yes.
You've had. Of course, I love you, but you've had it for 15 years, and in the beginning, it was hard. You know, you were very, very sick. The first few years, I always tell you, it felt like we lived at Children's Hospital. You would stay there a lot. Through kindergarten, through 8th grade, every single year you would miss between 45 and 50 days of school. Just that's just how it was. But Children's Hospital was great because we had our own lawyer to help him make, do all the school stuff, and the school would help out, and a great 504 plan. It's for kids who are sick. And what was a really blessing was that I was able to stay home with him. So all the nights that I stayed up, I didn't have to worry about as far as getting up, going to work, or finding a babysitter. I was always here with him. Me or his dad were always able to take care of him. So I was very fortunate. We were both as a family, and he had great brothers. I think his older brother, because he's seen how much he was in the hospital, that's where he ended up being a respiratory therapist and works at Kaiser. And I think it was because he had always going to the hospital with him and seeing that, the support system that we have is awesome. So I think that's why he hasn't had to struggle with it at all, really, that much anyway. Right?
Yeah.
No.
So I'm sure a lot of people think, wow, he's a diabetic. He must have had a sad childhood. But I was only 3 years old when I got it. I didn't even understand what it was. Didn't know what was happening, but I was still a very happy child. I had a good childhood. I had loving parents, and I was, even at the hospital, I was still very happy. I didn't care too much about it.
Not dying today.